Hey guys, welcome back to another snapshot video. This time we get a bit of a break. Today's snapshot was mostly about tweaking some of the already added features and some minor additions. First, let's take a look at the changes that were done to the blocks that were added last week. So Grimstone is no longer called Grimstone. The new name for this type of block is Deepslate. Also looks a bit different now, especially from on top. So from on top it looks like normal stone, just a bit darker. So this way it blends in a lot better underground. From the side, yeah, it still looks a bit like the Grimstone, but not as tiled anymore. So there's a new type of block to get added, the Cobbled Deepslate. So this is basically just a cobble variant of the Deepslate. You can get it by breaking a normal Deepslate block without silk touch or blowing Deepslate up to get the Cobbled Deepslate. So this looks more similar to the Grimstone we got last week. I kinda expected that it could convert the cobbled Deepslate back into Deepslate by putting into a furnace, similar like putting cobblestone in there and turning it back into a normal stone block, but this is not the case. So if you put in cobbled Deepslate, nothing happens. So the crafting recipes that were introduced for the Brimstone basically got transferred over to the cobbled Deepslate variant the moment you know crafting recipes for the normal Deepslate. For example, if you want to craft a pickaxe, then you do it with the cobbled Deepslate. If you try it with the normal Deepslate, there we go, nothing happens. There's still no crafting recipes for the Deepslate tiles and bricks. So I would assume the plan is that you can probably craft those out of the normal Deepslate, while, for example, the polished Deepslate you make out of the cobbled Deepslate. There we got it. Alright. The Deepslate ore variants that were announced last week also have arrived now. So we have Deepslate gold ore, iron ore, lapis, diamond, and redstone ore. There is no variant for emerald, copper, and coal, because those type of ores don't generate as low. The Deepslate ores were added to blend with the terrain below Y0 a bit better. They have the same functionality as the stone ores. So one Deepslate diamond ore will drop one diamond like a stone diamond ore, in case you don't have any fortune. This might also be an idea to adjust the block loot table maybe in the future in order to tweak the rewards you get from caving lower. For example, maybe a Deepslate redstone ore could drop a bit more than the stone variant, but it's just an idea. At the moment, they're basically the same. Next, let's check out some of the changes that were done to the terrain generation. Cracks were added. Those are basically more narrow ravines that are also a bit more deadly. So here we got a crack in a mountain biome, and check out how deep those go. So at the moment we're around Y80. They go all the way down to Deepslate level basically. So now we're at -4. So if you would fall in here, this is a drop of 88 blocks. Even if you have full fall protection, this might kill you in case you don't have an elytra. So you really gotta be careful with those cracks. Mineshafts are also now generated again in the big open caves. So mineshaft like this one here, suspended from the ceiling, is easy to find now. Remember last week's snapshot, I actually had to search for a while to see a naturally generated chain block, but now you can find them in a lot of caves. The classic cave generation also extends to the Deepslate terrain, so below Y0 now. So here we got, for example, one of the classic caves, which also means that the lava-filled caves are back. So if you have a classic cave that generates between Y64 and I think 55, so the lowest 10 layers, they will be filled by lava again. So if you fly around here, you can see lava pretty much everywhere again, which wasn't the case last week. So here's also a cave filled with lava. And here you can also see another change. Instead of having andesite as a second stone block in the negative Y values, we have tuff now. So this also means that tuff is a lot more common, and in case you want to build with it, it's also a lot easier to find. So let's maybe have a look around. I'll try to find a bigger cave. Yeah, so those are the patches. Previously, they were made of andesite, and now they're tuff. Previously, tuff formed the outer layer of the geode structures, so the ones with the amethyst blocks. In order to not mistake a random patch of tuff with a geode, the outer layer was actually replaced with a new type of block. We got smooth basalt as the outer layer. So we got calcite and then smooth basalt on the outside. You can even make smooth basalt yourself by putting basalt in a furnace and smelt it. So that means the smooth basalt is also renewable. You can get basalt with the blue ice and soul soil mechanic. In case you're wondering, the old style ravines still exist. So here I found a classic ravine. Those aren't quite as deep, but wider. I also want to show the transition from the normal stone terrain to the deep slate terrain. I think the new texture works a bit better. So last week I had the feeling that the Grimstone looks a bit off, but this feels a bit more like the classic look. I think this fits a bit better. I was also wondering what happens at the transition layer, so basically which type of ore is selected. So here we can see a normal stone, redstone ore, that was generated lower than the deep slate variant. So it seems like it's just randomized. I looked around a bit more and then I also found just normal stone lapis ore at -Y12. So it seems like this is just random which type is selected at the transition layers. It didn't take too long and I found a gold ore, so a normal stone gold ore, was generated at -Y17. Not entirely sure if this is really intended. We also have spawner generation in the negative Y values now. This looks a bit off because the normal stone texture is used. Maybe the cobbled deep slate would be better in that case. Maybe a new type of block could also be added. Maybe combining vines with deep slate would give you some mossy deep slate. I think this would also be a nice change, so it would fit in a bit better. The ore distribution has been adjusted again, but this still is probably not final. The most significant change is that you can find iron ore, gold ore, and also lapis ore at the lowest layers as well. Those won't be the optimal layers to, for example, find iron. The optimal layer for that would be around Y24, I believe. And for example, gold is a lot more common, around -Y16, but you can find those again at the lowest layers. So if you go mining for diamond and redstone ore, which you can find most frequently at the lowest layers, then you can also find some lapis, iron, and gold. There's a specialty about the iron ore veins. They come in smaller blobs now. So it's not too unusual to see how many we have here. Only have a single or two iron ore. When breaking the deep slate iron ore, I also noticed the new sounds I've added to deep slate and the deep slate ores. So let's check those out. Yeah, this is the block breaking sound. And this is the block placing sound. As usual, Mojang always gets those right. It sounds very satisfying. I also wonder how it would actually sound if you could insta-mine those. So all you need to insta-mine deep slate would be an efficiency 5, netherite pickaxe, and haste 8. Okay, this definitely would sound nice, but in survival, obviously this is not achievable. So if you have the best possible pickaxe, even a gold pickaxe, and haste 2, then yeah, you're not even close to being able to insta-mine this. And another small change, particles will not only drop from the spore blossoms, also in the air around the spore blossom you will find some particles, like here. And last but not least, we got one more change that I personally also welcome. Honey and slime have been moved to the redstone menu. So this is good news for everyone building a flying machine. Can get it all now from the redstone menu. That's all for today. Thanks guys for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.